is Tracy with the Limelight Pet Project, and today we are at Save a Forgotten Equine in Redmond, one of my all-time favorite places to spend an afternoon. And today we are with Terry and Sue. And who do we have for adoption today, Terry?
This is Jasper. He is a 14-year-old Tennessee Walker who's been with Safe now for 1 year. And he is a companion horse here at Safe.
Yeah, so describe somebody that maybe doesn't understand what companion horse means. What does that mean, and why is he a companion horse?
Well, when Jasper came to Safe, he had a lot of history of kind of not being understood, maybe. He's a really sensitive horse, so he's quick to kind of spook and jump here and there. And when he spooked and jumped, maybe the people in his past spooked and jumped a little bit, or maybe even got a little rough with him, because when he arrived at Safe, he was very, very afraid. So when you would put your hand up or even walk into his pen, his whole body would quiver and shake. So we started working towards first just gentling and getting his trust and becoming his friend. And then we started to reintroduce saddles and seeing about being able to ride him just right from the ground up. Like pretend he'd never had it done before and do everything slowly and consistently. And we didn't see a lot of changes. He was afraid of the saddle and continued every day the saddle would be put on and was still afraid and still afraid. And mostly it was a running away of the saddle. So anything that was going to be put on his back, he was going to run as fast as he could away from that. And so it was dangerous to think about putting a human on his back.
Right.
So we got to the point where it makes more sense for him to be considered companion. And one of the important things about a companion is that they're good with lots of different types of horses. And also one of the great things about Jasper, which I can't say this for a lot of horses, is he's like zero herd boundness. So if you take the other horse away, say your riding horse goes off to the trail and your companion at home, like Jasper, is staying at home, he's like, hey, see you when you get back. He's totally like chill as a cucumber, happy-go-lucky. So he makes kind of the perfect companion.
Yeah, and he seems like such a sweetheart. And as a companion horse, Sue, you were talking about some quality time that you got to spend with him. Can you describe the day that you guys got to have the other day?
Yeah, so I actually work with Jasper on the ground 3 or 4 days a week. So yesterday I did my normal groundwork session with him, and then afterwards we got to go out on the trails with 7 other horses that were being led, and it was his second time. His first time he was very good, but very nervous, and when we did it yesterday, he was not nervous at all. So it was a big change. He just was happy.
Now, Terry, he's about 14 years old, so middle-aged for a horse. Other than just needing to be a companion horse, does he have any behavioral or health issues that a potential adopter should be aware of?
Oh, he's very easy to get along with, jumps right into the trailer. We actually used him to take another horse that needed to go to the clinic. He was a companion buddy and jumped right in and was a nice, steady, calming influence for that horse. He ties up, grooms up being tied. We've given him baths. He's great for the farrier and the vet. All the things that you could need to do with your horse on the ground, he does very well. He does startle and jump. So, you know, when he does that, it's always to the side and away from you. He's never come on top or aggressive or anything towards us. But he will kind of just scatter a little bit and then look to you for like, oh, are we okay? And you say, yeah, no, we're fine. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's getting over that part of being afraid is getting over quicker and quicker over the year of gentling and being with us at Safe here. He knows that that if we feel things are okay, he knows things are okay.
Yeah, and you were both mentioning how Jasper's the type of horse that he looks to his person for reassurance. So when he does have that little spook, he'll probably check in with whoever he's with, and then as long as you have the right mindset and you don't overreact to it, he probably comes back to baseline pretty quickly. Would you say, Sue?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he doesn't escalate.
Yeah.
He has a moment and then it passes. He does like to look to us to say, am I okay? But yeah, kind of like that.
Now, how would each of you describe his personality? I'll ask you first, Terry.
I think he's a very gentle soul. I love that Jasper let us trusted us to be his friend when he came. It's really hard when you know the horse has probably been beaten up before.
Yeah.
And you think, why would you ever trust me? He was so afraid, and you could physically see, and so you had to be his buddy and his friend and still make him feel like it was okay, especially when we were trying to put saddles on him. And
Right.
I was like, I knew that he was afraid, and we went really, really slow, and yet the next day he would still look and come and be with me and say, it's okay, I know I'm afraid, and look to you and go, this thing's on my back. And so making the choice that he got to, not have to be a riding horse was really freeing
Right.
for us, and I think for him. And he, over the last I think it's been about 3 months when we made that decision, he has just opened up even more.
Right.
Right? He's kind of a character, but he's, when you go into his pen now, he comes up to us. He's not running to the corner and saying, please don't come near me. So I love that a horse that in his past had it so bad could come to safe, and through the horsemanship work and through friends like Sue taking care of him and consistently being there for him, he has turned a complete new leaf and knows that people are friends.
Well, and what a gift you've given him, where he was giving you signals and saying, I'm just not comfortable, I'm still afraid. And you respected that and said, okay, you're not going to be a saddle horse, but you can still lead a wonderful quality life. And I think people underestimate just how important it is to have a horse like Jasper that sets the tone for the other horses. It's always nice if you're having a medical emergency with a horse, or if there's fireworks or something like that going off, to have a horse that goes, we're fine, we're good, because they are herd animals. And so if you have one horse that's kind of calm and helping everybody else feel the same way, that makes a huge difference.
Totally, Jasper. I can put him in when there was other horses that were getting a farrier and they were a little bit nervous. I could just bring him in, tie him up. He just stood there and fell asleep, and the other horse was calm because he was calm. I think, even though he's a little bit jumpy and spooky at times, he on the ground is very, very safe. So having someone who's like an intermediate type, kind of understands horse language a little bit, doesn't necessarily have to be an advanced person to handle him.
Right.
Because he is very mindful and has really good manners. We had a horse that was afraid of the farrier, afraid of being alone in the arena while we were going to trim its feet. We brought Jasper in, tied him up, and he just fell asleep, and the other horse immediately relaxed.
Yeah.
So he became that calming influence.
What a good boy.
And I think that he has a lot to offer for someone who's interested in doing more ground or obstacles or things like even walking on the trails. And Sue, who's learning the horsemanship on the ground, had taken him into a clinic. And so I think, Sue, you can talk a little bit about that, how that worked with him.
So that was a really good experience for me, because I had done a similar clinic with other horses, but not with so many people in that. So we had
there's 15
out there, and so you had a lot of people, and you had to stay out of other people's way. And when we first went out there, he was just like, oh dear God. But he, like he does, he kind of looked to me and he's like, are we okay? And he was fine, and that was, not easily, but pretty quick. So that was a good experience for me to work through that. Then we just worked on all the things that we were supposed to be working on.
Now,
it's nice to have a horse sometimes that you can concentrate on your learning versus always like where are they and what's going on with them. And I think he's now, after a year at Safe, kind of gotten to that point where he's such a middle of the road. He's not a hard keeper. He's not super, he doesn't take a lot of effort. He has no medical issues or anything like that. So he really is easy to be around and easy to care for.
Right. And what do you think some of his favorite things to do are? Do you think that he really looks forward to his trail walks? What do you think, Sue?
I think he likes to see people come to his skate. He likes to have people around him. He loves his grass turnout. I would say that's the highlight of his day. But I think he, in general, likes being outside. He definitely likes interacting with people. And he likes having another horse. I would say he likes having another horse. He isn't one that will freak out if he's alone, but he will perk up if there's another horse there.
Yeah, I would like to see him have a horse buddy that is not super aggressive, because he tends to get a little beat up. And he's not like bottom of a pecking order or anything like that, but it ends up that the more aggressive horses see him as a little bit of a challenge. And so it's nice if he goes out with a horse, like he was recently out with a horse named Artie of ours that just was adopted, and Artie and him became really great buds, and Artie and they would sleep together and watch over each other, and we're best of friends, and so we're on the look now here at Safe for a horse that he could go out with that would just let him be him and not beat him up.
So his ideal living situation would be a home where they have maybe one or two other horses that are kind and respectful, that would enjoy having him as a companion. Any other things that you think that he would have maybe on like his top 5 list?
Well, definitely living outside. He prefers, outside with a run-in shelter over being in a stall, though he can be stalled. He was just a little bit more eyes wide. Now, this coming winter, if he's here at Safe, we will stall again, and I think he'll be a lot more relaxed just because it's a second year doing it. But he does like being outside, so that's top for sure. I think that he enjoys the time with Sue grooming. They do it a lot. You like it.
He likes his spa time with you, Sue?
Yeah, and I think he likes, I think he doesn't mind the groundwork either.
Yeah. Having a little bit of a job when he wanted to do. He's very willing. He has a lot to try. I mean, that was not the problem to ride him. He was constantly there with you and connected with you. It was that he was just so afraid.
Right, yeah. And sometimes if something's happened in your past, you just can't get past that. So it's wonderful that you guys were able to recognize that and say, but he could do this and still have an equally wonderful life, that somebody is just going to fall in love with this sweet, kind, gentle, goofy horse. He is a little goofy.
One of a kind.
Now, if somebody sees this segment and they think that they have the perfect situation for Jasper, how do they reach out to Safe, and what are your adoption policies?
So on our website, we have an application, and I give a phone call, an interview, talk about what their ideal horse is, because just as much as we're trying to match Jasper to them, we're wanting to match them with the perfect horse.
Right.
So we'll have an interview, and if things sound like Jasper is a hit, set up a time for them to come out and meet him, groom him, take him for a walk, maybe out on the trail. Some people come multiple times even to visit and get to know horses. It takes about 2 weeks for us to do a site and reference checks after the person has visited and we all agree that he is a great match for them. And they'll transport the horses home, and there's a 30-day trial period. So that's really important because it takes a while for the horses to get used to being at a new place, new smells, new barn, new horses.
Right.
So it takes a couple weeks, and they know that he's the right fit, and then he gets a lifetime with them. And
wonderful.
We check on our horses annually. So we do site checks and visits to see that the family and the horse are still doing well. And if they ever were to need us again, we would step up and help them in that situation. They have a lifetime of safety once they come to Safe.
That's so wonderful to know that that safety net is still there. And I don't know if my body is blocking this or not, but we have an adorable baby over here, Coco. And Jasper came over and he was just so gentle and so respectful with her. And now she's trying to mooch some treats too.
She'll eat a carrot.
Hi, sweetheart.
He says, where's the
Hi.
carrots? He says, I get carrots too.
Yeah. He's like, I like treats. Did you have anything that you wanted to add, Sue, about this wonderful horse?
I think all the things that Terry said. He's a very sweet guy, and he's clearly had a lot of treats right now, so he's getting a little pushy, but he really isn't a pushy guy.
Well, it's hard when everything smells like carrots and that carrots are your jam.
He's come such a long way. I mean, it makes me happy that he's really so much more relaxed now than he was 3 months ago.
Well,
It makes you feel good.
and I think I was here around the time when he first arrived. I just couldn't remember how long it had been, and talk about a transformation. I mean, for a horse to feel safe and secure and know that they have a place, that makes a huge difference. So thank you so much, Sue, for all the time that you spend with him. And thank you, Terry. And here's to hoping somebody sees Jasper's segment and they think that he's the horse for them.
He's ready.
He is definitely ready. And this has been Tracy with the Limelight Pet Project, and we shine the light on harder to adopt pets because their stories are worth telling.